You're about to hand real money to a prop firm for a challenge, and if you're honest, part of you already knows how this usually goes. You pay, you trade, you break a rule you didn't fully understand. The account dies, you never really find out why, and the only fix on offer is to pay again and start over. Most people run that loop until they quit, convinced they're just not good enough. I run it too. Before any of this worked, I failed challenge after challenge and burnt around $5,400, learning what nobody bothered to tell me. Today I trade over $400,000 in funded capital across several firms. The gap between those two versions of me was not talent, it was not secret strategy, it was 10 specific things I did not know. So that's what this is, the 10 lessons I wish someone had put in front of me on day one, so you can skip the expensive part where you'll learn them by losing. This is the video I needed and never got. Let me start with the one that would have saved me the most money. Passing the challenge is not the win. I passed my first challenge and celebrated like I'd made it. I thought the hard part was over. The challenge is the hard part. It filters out almost everybody. Hitting a profit target on a deadline without ever touching the daily loss limit is the hardest thing this industry asks of you. But the hardest doesn't mean final. Passing is step 1 of 5. You still have to get verified. Trade the funded account without breaking a rule. Request your first payout. Actually receive the money. Every step takes out a fresh wave of people who already did the difficult part. And passing burns everything you have. Your patience, your discipline, your nerve. Most traders reach the funded account empty, with no plan for what comes next. That's why so many blow it on the first week. Passing is not the finish line, it's the starting line. Your strategy is probably fine, your risk is the problem. For months, I was sure my strategy was broken, so I bought new indicators, paid signal groups, 2 systems that each promised to be the missing piece. Close to $2,000 spent fixing something that was never broken. The problem was my position size. Here is the math nobody drew out for me. The target is 7%. That is not one big trade, it's an accumulation. Risk 0.4% per trade with a 2-to-1 target, and every winner pays you 0.8%. 9 winners and the challenge is done. 9. Over 4 weeks, that's 2 good trades a week. Now every strategy that makes money has losing trades inside it. That's not a defect, that's the design. And losers don't show up politely spaced out. You will hit 3 or 4 in a row at some point, inside a month that still finishes green. That streak tells you nothing about your edge. It only tells you something about your size, because at 2% a trade, 2 winners and you're through. It sounds faster, and it is, right until that normal streak arrives. At that size, every single trade carries the whole challenge on its back. 2 bad ones in an afternoon and you're at your daily loss limits, on a strategy that was never the problem. Small size isn't playing scared, it's what lets you take 100 setups instead of 5, and 100 setups is where a real hedge actually shows up. If you're failing challenges right now, don't touch your strategy. Cut your size and let the winner stack. Trying to pass fast is how you face low. The target is 7%. When I started, I wanted it in 3 days. But speed isn't a separate decision from risk, it's the same decision. The only lever that makes you faster is size. I pass this quickly always mean I'll risk more, whether you say that part out loud or not. I was up 4% in 2 days, feeling like a genius. Day 3, I gave it all back, plus the rest. Account dead. And look at the deadline you're racing. Most one-step challenges have no time limit at all. Nobody takes the account away at the end of the month. That clock is in your head and is the most expensive thing you brought to the table. So set a floor. Before your first trade, decide this challenge takes a minimum of 15 trading days. You can't finish early without sizing up, and sizing up is off the table. The decision is made before the market gets a chance to tempt you. Mine took 4 weeks, 4 boring weeks, and I passed. The traders who survive are the ones willing to be bored. Start smaller than your ego wants. For way too long, I kept buying $25,000 challenges because the bigger number felt more serious. When those failed, I told myself I need to go bigger to take it seriously, so I started to buy 50k challenges. I failed them in 9 days, 12 days, 6 days. Do that 12 times and you had prop firms thousands of dollars with nothing to show for it. Then I did the humble thing, and honestly it stung my pride. I dropped all the way down to $10,000 challenge, which cost about $100. It felt like a step backward, but it was the smartest step I ever took. Smaller account, smaller pressure, smaller cost every time I made a mistake. That is where I finally found my rhythm. Once I could pass consistently at $10,000, scaling up was the easy part. So start where you can actually win, not where you wish you already were. Read the fine print before you pay a cent. I lost a funded account to a rule I did not know existed, and it is the one nobody warns you about. It is called a consistency rule. Some firms state that no single trade can make up more than a set share of your total profit, usually around 25%. You can literally fail a challenge by making too much money in one day. You had one great session, felt untouchable, and woke up to a flagged account purely because that single day was too good. Punished for winning. That is the real danger with prop firms. It's not only about losing, it is buried in the fine print. Before you pay for anything, learn the 4 metrics that actually govern your account. The daily loss limit, usually around 4%. The maximum overall drawdown, around 8%. The payout terms, how often you are allowed to withdraw. The profit split, how much of your winnings you keep. The good setups let you keep up to 90%. I paid real money to learn what was sitting in a rulebook I never opened. You can read yours for free tonight before risking a cent. Revenge trading will end you faster than any rule. The worst damage I ever did to an account did not come from a bad strategy or missed rule. It came straight from my own emotions. I would take a loss, get angry, and immediately threw on a bigger trade to win it back fast. That is revenge trading, and it is the quickest way to turn one small manageable loss into a completely dead account. I once turned a tiny 1% down day into a blown account in about 20 minutes, purely because I refused to accept the first loss. The book that genuinely fixed my mindset was Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. It taught me that any single trade means almost nothing. The outcome of one trade is basically random. What actually matters is how you behave across hundreds of setups. Now, after a loss, I closed the laptop. The market would still be there tomorrow. Protecting my mindset is how I protected the account. Funded money is not your money, so treat it even better. Here's the part nobody mentions. Not owning the capital is an advantage. When it's your own saving on the line, fears get into every decision. You move your stop, you close a winner at half target because you can't stand giving it back. Funded capital takes that pressure off. Plenty of traders execute their strategy better on a funded account than they ever did on their own. But that detachment has two settings and most people mix them up. Detach from the money, never detach from the decision. I got that wrong on my first funded account. I took trades I never had taken with my own cash. I skipped my own checklist because losing it wouldn't cost me anything I already had. The loss wasn't the real damage. The damage was that I stopped being the trader who earned the account in the first place. Same focus, same rules, same discipline. The only thing you drop is the fear, because that account isn't capital, it's an asset that pays you every week for as long as you don't break it. You're not gambling with the house money. You're managing a job that pays for years unless you get yourself fired. Scaling beats grinding. For a long time, I tried to squeeze real income out of one small account. It does not work. You cannot pay a rent of a $10,000 account without taking the kind of risk that will eventually kill it. The move is not to grind a single account harder. The move is to scale. Here's what my path actually looked like. I passed a $10,000 challenge and I took my first few payouts. I used that momentum to validate the $25,000 account at $250. That account alone put roughly $2,000 in payouts in my pocket over the next 2 months. Then I added a $50,000 account at $350, followed by a $100,000 account at $550. Remember that $5,000 I burned learning out of this? Once these payouts started landing, that bill was already paid back and the climb funded itself. Stack accounts instead of overworking one. That is when the math finally starts working for you. You don't have to pay to do every part of this alone. This lesson took me way too long to accept. At the start, validating a single challenge took me around 20 days of slow, careful trading. I assumed doing every single part myself was the only honest way. Eventually, I realized that is just not true. There are professional ways to get a challenge validated far faster, and leaning on real expertise is not cheating, it is just smart. It is a big part of why my team and I built our service, and I will show you exactly how that works at the end of this video. The lesson here is bigger than any single service. You do not have to white-knuckle every step alone. The people who grow fastest are the ones who use the right help at the right time. Patience pays, hype doesn't. Here's the big lesson sitting underneath every other point of this list. When I started, I was chasing a fantasy. Fast money, screenshot of rented cars, and all the hype social media sells you. None of that changed my life. What changed my life was a payout of $182. My first real withdrawal, and I do not think I have ever been prouder of a number that small. It was never about the amount, it was the proof. Proof that the boring, patient, rule-following version of this model actually works. Hype gets you a blown account and a story about how you almost made it. Patience gets you paid. So let me keep the promise I made back in lesson 9. Everything I just walked you through, the dozen failed challenges, the wasted month, the $5,000 I lit on fire learning this the hard way. That is the exact pain my team and I built FastFunded to remove. It works like this. You buy a challenge with a prop firm, you give our team access to the account, and we will validate the challenge for you, usually in 5 to 6 days. And here's the part that matters. You don't pay us a cent upfront. You only pay our fee after the challenge is passed and you've received the official confirmation from the prop firm. Not before, and if we don't pass it, you just keep our fee and we will fund you the cost of the challenge itself. You're never out of pocket. Once you're funded, you get the rest of what we used to grow. Our AI signals running at a 75% win rate at a 1 to 2 risk to reward, our AI vision market scanner, mirror trading on accounts of $100,000 and up, and a private community of funded traders to build with. If someone had put all of this in front of me back when I was dozen challenges deep with nothing to show for it, I would have saved months of my life and every dollar of their $5,400. The link to our private group is right in the description. Come in, ask your questions, and let's get you funded the smart way. I wish someone had done this for me. Now we can do it for you.